This is class 3 of Excel Everything series. Welcome to PivotTable. This video will include pivot table from basics. I will talk about its features, what are the pivot table fields that we have, and more importantly, what are the challenges we face while creating a pivot table report. We will end this session by creating a simple dashboard. Now let's talk about pivot table first before using it. So in various business situations, we need to analyze, or we say slice and dice your data to gain important insights. Imagine that you sell different grocery products like this example in different stores in different regions. You might have hundreds and thousands of data points. For example, this one includes around 3300 data points. Pivot table let you quickly summarize your data in almost any way imaginable. For your grocery store data like this one, you can quickly find out which segment is generating highest sales. What is the sales trend in a year, so that you can plan your monthly or yearly budget accordingly. Which product is generating lowest revenue, so that you can improve the performance of that particular product by giving discount or by any other means. In other words, pivot table is a gateway towards data analysis. Now let's create a pivot table. I'll select any cell. I'll go to insert tab. And there is this option called pivot table, or press Alt and V T and then select where you want to put your pivot table into. So let's say if you want to put your pivot table in the existing worksheet, select the existing worksheet and select the cell and press OK, or else select new worksheet and press OK. This will create a new worksheet. Let's change the name first. This is called pivot table field list. These are the names of all the headers which are present in this particular table: order date, segment, region, and everything. These are the boxes which will help us create the pivot table. Now let's drag segment in rows area and let's see what happens. And as you can see, it actually created a unique list of all the values present in segment column. Similarly, if you drag, let's say, sales in rows area and remove segment, you can see they actually created or listed down all the numbers available in that particular column. So what actually happening here is, it all depends on the column and what is the data type of that particular column. For example, the segment, region, product name, all of them contains characters, but all these four contains numbers. Now let's drag order date in rows area. There are two different things that happened here. First is, it created a different field called months, and second is, there are now two different fields in the rows box. And since we have only 2017 data here, which include only 1 year, that's why we are not seeing year field here. So I hope this is clear. So if there is multiple year present in the same column, then there will be one more field called years. If you drag order date outside, it will create only the list of months which are present in this particular column. And if you drag profit in the values area, it actually given as a sum of profit, but month should be January. Now let's drag segment in the rows area. If I drag, let's say, sales in values area, it will create a sum of sale pertaining to the condition that the segment should be consumer or corporate or home office. So it actually helped me create the sum of all these segregated values. Now what will happen if I drag region, or let's say product, in the values area? It will give you count. So earlier when I dragged sales, it gave me sum, but when I drag product name, it will give us count. This is because the sales column contains only numbers, and that's why it given us sum by default. But when we drag a column which contains character or text like segment, or let's say product name, these are characters. So if I drag let's say product name in the values area, it will give us count. You can't find the sum of any of these values. You can only count the unique number of values. So in consumer area, there are this much of products and so on. You can change the calculation by double clicking here and selecting whatever you want. You can select count, average, max, mean, product, and there are some statistical calculations also available here. Now let's create a cross tabulated table. I'll drag segment in the rows area to create a unique list column wise, and let's drag region in the column area, and now I'll drag profit in the values area. This will give us profit of consumer base in the central region. The profit is this much, and similarly for west it is this much for consumer, and so on. And it also gave me grand total of all these values. So for consumer the grand total is this much, and for central region the grand total is this much. You can change or remove the grand total by going to design, grand total, and off to the rows and columns. If you want only for the rows, you can select the cell, go to design, grand total, on rows only or on columns only. So I want on for columns only, so it will give me the column sum of all these values. I hope this is clear. Now let's change the number format of all these cells. So I'll select complete list, press Ctrl 1, go to number, not in currency because I don't need any symbol. I'll remove the decimal points, need 1000 separator as well, press OK, and done. Now if you want to create a new pivot table, you can go to the table, repeat the complete cycle of pressing Alt, N, V, T, and so on, or you can just copy this and paste it and remove all these things and start from fresh. So let's create a new table called sales trend. So this table is giving me records of 2017 only. So 2017 year report is here. So I'll drag order date in column area, and let's see what happens. This will create table horizontally. I don't need a horizontal table. I always try to drag things on the rows area unless or until it is require me to create a horizontal table or a cross tabulated table, just like the last one we have seen. I hope this is clear now. So we always try to drag fields in rows area, not in column area. This is recommended from my side, okay, unless or until it is required by you. But now I don't need order date, I only need months. So for that I'll drag order date outside and stick with months only. I hope this is clear. Now let's find out the profit. So I'll drag profit in the, not in the rows area, not in the columns area. We haven't talked about filters area yet. So I'll stick with values because it will give me sum of profit in each of the month. Okay. Now you can also drag let's say sales in the values area. It will give you sum of sales and sum of profit both at the same time. Now let's find out what are the segment and how much profit we generated. And also let's copy this, paste it here, and this time let's find out what are the regions and how much profit we have generated. Now let's create a chart. Chart is nothing but a graphical representation of all your table, all your pivot table to be specific. So I'll select any cell, go to insert tab, and there is this option called recommended chart. It will recommend you which are the chart that can justify your data. So for this is something called column chart. So this column chart is best suited for you. So you can just double click and this is done. So I have created first chart, and by just seeing this you can say that West is generating highest profit, but you have to make this clutter free. I don't need this, so just right click and hide all field button on chart. I need a proper title, so just click on that, write down whatever you want. Let's call it region wise profit. Now I don't need this legend here, you can just delete this. Now there are two options. You can either put this axis and take reference from the lines that you are seeing here, or you can just delete this and press plus key, go to label, data labels, and click on that. And this is more comprehensive for anyone to understand that while central region generated the lowest profit, West is in the top position right now with 43,809 rupees of revenue. I hope this is clear now. So I don't need any clutters. This is not recommended. Always try to make charts clutter free for everyone to understand it properly. Now let's create another chart. I'll select the cell, go to insert tab, recommended chart, and this time I'll go with pie chart. And I'll select the donut one. So donut pie chart. Okay. I'll remove these things which are not useful. These are useful. So I'll click on plus sign, select this line, this dot, and put it on bottom side. Now this is properly filled, and now I'll click on plus sign again. I need data labels. These are useful. If you want, you can just drag it outside to make it understand. Now it's better. I need this to be a proper title, so let's call it segment wise profit. So you can either select the cell, double click on it and write whatever you want, or you can just go to formula bar and type whatever you want. Done. Now two charts we have created. Let's make it adjustable. This is better. For the time being, let's create all the charts and then we will adjust everything and make it a wonderful dashboard. Now let's create chart based on this table. So I'll select the cell again. You can go to insert tab or do whatever you want. Now there are some guys who do some cheating by just selecting the cell in that pivot table and pressing Alt and F1. This will automatically create the chart which is best suited for your table. So just remove all these clutters first. So we have created 3 different charts. Now let's create trend line. Remember that while creating a trend line, there must be a column with date type as a number format. So since we have one here, so let's go ahead, let's select the cell. I'll click insert tab, recommended chart, and then line chart. I'll go with the first one. Let's remove all these clutters. I need a title, so I'll go with chart title. Let's click on that, go to formula bar, write down a perfect title for this. So let's say sales and profit trend year 2017 and enter. This is done. So we have created 4 different charts with respect to 4 different pivot tables. It is not required to have all these reports and tables. Only put things which are necessary and which are required by you. And secondly, you can just create one different sheet, copy them all and paste it there. Okay, and adjust them all. Now it's looking a bit better. So I moved important parts of this sheet to this final sheet. Let's call it dashboard. Now the last topic that we are going to learn is slicer. So slicer is nothing but a condition based button that you can use to make your complete dashboard responsive. Now let's see what responsive actually means. So I'll select any table or any chart. Okay, and initially I will create the slicer based on this particular selected chart. Then I'll connect the slicer with all of them. So let's see in action. So I'll select this particular chart. I'll go to insert tab and there is this option called slicer. Let's bring let's say segment wise slicer. There are 3 buttons you can see. So from segment it actually fetched all the unique items and listed down all of them here. Now as soon as you click on any of the button, let's say consumer, it will change and only this one will change. And what it means is this data that you are seeing here, region wise sales, this data is only based on the condition that segment should be consumer or corporate or home office. If you want to select multiple items from here, just hold Ctrl key and press whatever you want. I hope this is clear. Now let's connect this with all these items together. For that, let's click slicer, go to the slicer option, report connection, and tick all of them. Okay, now as soon as you click, this will all change. So there are a lot of things that we have learned today. We started with the basics of pivot table. We created a report based on raw data, and we learned about charts, how to create charts. There are a lot of things that we need to learn. For example, which chart is suitable, which chart needs which kind of number formatting or data types. And we also need to learn map chart, and there are a lot of creative chart which came around after 2019 version of Office. So there are a lot of things that we need to talk about. So we will take this ahead in the next video. Till that time, have a great day.